Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. For today's video presentation, we would like to present on the topic claim for loss and expense. So this is our group member, myself, Muhammad Amal Ashraf, Muhammad Yazid, Muhammad Siddiq, Nur Ayu and Raja Yasmin. Okay, basically contracts allow contractor to claim for loss and expense suffered by him under certain circumstances. So basically, the term loss refer to any money that the contractor should have received, but which he did not receive because of one or more of those events listed in the conditions of the relevant contract. Expense are defined as any cost to the contractor which is more than it would otherwise have been because of the events, while direct is the direct consequences of the act giving rise to the claim, that which flows naturally from the breach without other intervening cause and independently of special circumstances. Under Form PWD 203A, there will be three relevant clauses related to this topic, which is Clause 5.0 about SO instruction, Clause 43.0 about delay and extension of time, and Clause 44.0 about claims for loss and expense. Okay, this is typical procedure for claim for loss and expenses under PWD 203A. Start with disturbances to regular progress of work. Then the contractor will write notice of intention to claim for loss and expense to the SO. The SO will check either the notice according to the contract or not. If no, the SO may reject the notice and they can bring to the arbitration. If yes, contractor can start claim for loss and expense. Then the claim will be checked again by the SO. Either the claim according to the contract or not. If no, the SO may reject the claim and they can go for arbitration. If yes, ascertainment of claim by the SO, then payment certificate prepared by SO, and lastly payment by the employer.
According PWD 203A, the clause 44.0 states that if at any time during the regular progress of the works or any part thereof has been materially affected by reason of delays, as stated under clause 43.1c, d, e, f, and h, this means the contractor can claim the loss and expense due to several consequences. This is because according to the clause 44.0, materials that only can be claimed is: firstly, suspension of works, clause 43.1c. The reason that issues for the contractor has to be instructed to stop the work from the employer. If the instruction is ordered from the local authorities, this clause cannot be used. For example, due to the financial difficulty that has to be faced by the employer, the construction site has to be stopped for giving some time to the employer to make a stabilization of the financial. Well, the contractor also can claim the loss and expense due to the dispute with the neighboring owners. This is due to the noise pollution or other pollutions that came from the construction site that can disturb the comfort of the neighbor. For example, the installation of piling use the hammer technique that can cause a noise and other consequences for the neighbor. Therefore, the contractor needs to change the piling system that not disturb others. For this situation is due to the SO instruction that are not issued due to any act, negligence, default, and breach of contract. The contractor needs to take an action to do as the SO instructions. Then the contractor can claim for the loss and expense and extensions of time due to the works. For example, the SO instruct to remove all the material and wood from the sites. But if the contractor fail to do so, the SO may employ others to do the work. For this clause, the contractor is not receive on time the instructions regards of the nomination of subcontractors or suppliers, necessary instructions, drawing or level of the execution due to the default of the SO. For example, the drawing and details in clause 8c, the SO must provide the contractor 2 copies of the drawing and details of the work that necessary due to the explanation, contract document, or the specifications of the work. This delay is caused by the party that engaged by the employer that supposedly to carry out the work that are not a part of the contract. For example, those work is the installation of the specialties such as air conditioning. The employer had their own specific choice of treatments. Therefore, the contractor must follow the consequences by the employer regards with their instructions. Therefore, the contractor will enter the extension of time due to the delay made from the others. In this clause, it states that the contractor has incurred direct loss and expense beyond reasonably contemplated and for which the contractor would not be reimbursed by the payment made under any other provision in the contract. This is because the default of the employer and the SO, the contractor who entitled the extension of time will not combine with the entitled of the additional payment for the claim of the loss and expense. Is there any default by the employer or SO, then the contractor will be entitled for the loss and expense. For the loss and expense would not be paid under other provision of the contract.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Siddiq. I want to present registering claims. There are two things that should be done by the contractor before to claim loss and expense. Okay, first, notice of intention to claim. The contractor should give written notice to the SO within 30 days after the occurrence of events causing the delay. The notice must state the reason of his claim and show the estimate of loss and expense. Uh, With this notice, the SO will be made aware of any matters that are likely to affect the progress of the works and result in a money claim as soon as possible. If the contractor does not report within the specified period, SO may deny the notice. This is the timeline contractor notice of intention to claim. As you can see, after the event cause the delay had occurred, the contractor should give written notice of intention to claim within 30 days with explanation to his claim for loss and expense. In PWD, under clauses 44.1, these clauses tell about notice of intention to claim. Then, claim. Claim for the loss and expense can be considered for the loss and expense when the contractor will not be paid under any other provisions of the contract, and the contractor had given the intention to claim within 30 days after the occurrence of the specific events. The claim should be submitted to SO immediately within 90 days after the issue of Certificate of Practical Completion (CPC). The contractor required to provide full particular on all claims for the loss and expense, as well as supporting documentation, explanation, and calculation in order for the SO to decide on the claim's validity. If the contractor failed to give written notice and submit full particular on all claims for loss and expense, the contractor not be entitled to claims. This is timeline of contractor's claim. After CPC had issued, the contractor should give full particular of his claim and supporting document as soon as possible within 90 days to get validation from SO. After the 90 days, the claim not valid. In PWD, under clauses 44.2, these clauses tell about claims, and under clause 44.3, if the contractor failed to comply with clauses 44.1 and clauses 44.2, the contractor not be entitled to claim loss and expense. Okay, thank you.
Hi, I am Muhammad Yazid. I will proceed with ascertaining claims. The SO is responsible to ascertain the application submitted by the contractor. The SO should only consider substantiated claims that are submitted within the stipulated time. The SO has two steps to ascertain claims, which are SO opinions and ascertainment of claims. The first step, SO opinions, to decide on the entitlement of the contractor on his claim, determine the material effect on regular progress of work and disruption effect on contractor's money. Second step, to ascertain the amount of the direct loss and expenditure, only be done if the opinion of the SO is passed and SO will issue a payment certificate to the client. Next is head of claims. Claims for loss and expense can be categorized into two, which are prolongation and disruption. For prolongation, it is claims due to delay in completion. For disruption, it is claimed due to the effect of an event upon the contract work. So, these are some of the head of claims. First, site overhead. It is regarding the site management cost and basically a prolongation cost. So, this is the example dan biasanya mereka akan kira untuk progressive charge. Next is the general overhead. It has three formulas which are Hudson, Emden and Ishley. Hudson formula iaitu kontraktor tu memang dah dia anggarkan yang dia akan dapat kalau kerja-kerja itu melebihi masa yang sepatutnya. So, ini adalah contoh kiraannya. Second is the Emden formula. Similar to Hudson formula, but the difference is the overhead percentage used. Dia refer kepada year-end account balance sheet yang boleh diperoleh daripada company. Third, Ishley. This method is not popular except in the USA. Dan untuk formula ini, overhead dan profit diberi dalam lump sum. So, this is the formula for Ishley. Next, C. Loss of profit. The profit earned by the contractor is difficult to prove sebab nilai percentage tak fix. So, contractor pun tak sure. And D. Loss of productivity berkaitan dengan inefficient or increased use of labour, plants and delay. Contractor kena nyatakan bukti-bukti loss itu. E. Increased cost of resources, additional expenditure on labour, material or plant. Bila certain kerja tu extend dan menggunakan pekerja yang sama, so ada extra cost kat situ. F. Financing charges, interest on money expended, berkaitan dengan interest yang dikenakan. Dan lastly, cost of preparing claims, cost of managerial time spent to prepare the claims. Next, I would like to share a case regarding the claims and expenses, iaitu case FG Minter versus WHTO 1980. Kes ni mengenai kontraktor ni, dia dapat projek untuk buat bangunan hospital dan dia terpaksa ambil loan from a third party. Lepas tu, WHTO ni pula, dia lambat bagi arahan, drawing dan sebagainya, menyebabkan kontraktor tu incurred more loss. Masa projek tu tak bergerak, financial charges ataupun interest from the third party still berjalan. So, ini dikira sebagai direct loss, which means it's directly resulted from the breach by the defendant. Thank you.
In PAM Contract 2018. First of all, there are two relevant clauses in PAM that talk about claim for loss and expense. First is clause 2, where it is about architect instructions. So, contractor must comply with architect instructions. Second is clause 24, where it talk about the matter affecting the regular progress of work. Generally, PAM Contract 2018 have similar provision with PWD Form 203A, but there are certain additional provisions and differences. Okay, so the first differences is in the matter affecting regular progress of work. So apart from PWD Form 203A, here is the additional provision we have in PAM. First is clause 24.3c, delay by the employer in giving site possessions. And then clause 24.3e, delay or failure in the supply of material and goods which the employer had agreed to supply for the work. And then clause 24.3l, by the reason of the execution of work which a provisional quantity is included in the BQ. And then clause 24.3m, failure of the employer to give in due time entry to or exit from the site. And then clause 24.3o, suspension of the whole or part of the work by order from an appropriate authority. And lastly, clause 24.3n, suspension of the contractor of his obligation under clause 30.7 and 30.8. Clause 30.7 is about suspension of work for non-payment, while clause 30.8 is about compulsory suspension of work. Second differences is on the registering of claim. So in PAM, the contractor must submit the notice of his intention to claim for loss and expense within 28 days after the issuance of AI or CAI or the occurrence of the matter causing the delay as shown below. And then the claim for loss and expense is later to be submitted to the architect within 28 days after the end of the causes of the delay. That's all from us. Thank you very much.